In the heart of Victoria Island, where glass buildings touched the sky and money spoke louder than morals, lived Ethan George, young, handsome, and very rich. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with a clean beard that framed his sharp jawline. His smile alone could open doors money hadn't even knocked on yet. At 29, he had inherited his father's conglomerate oil logistics, real estate, importation before most men even figured out life. He lived in a glass-walled penthouse overlooking the Atlantic, drove cars that turned traffic into silence, and wore confidence like tailored suits. He also had a sister, Alicia George. Alicia was his closest confidant. Smart, outspoken, fiercely protective of her brother. Her friends never stopped reminding her of one thing. "Your brother is too fine to be single," they would tease. "Please, just hook us up," another would add, jokingly. Alicia always laughed it off. She knew Ethan wasn't the careless type. He believed in love, commitment, family. And at that time, Ethan wasn't single. He was engaged. Clara had been his fiancée for 2 years. The wedding date was set. Invitations were already being discussed. To the outside world, everything looked perfect. Until one quiet night changed everything. Ethan returned home earlier than planned, carrying excitement with him. He wanted to surprise Clara. The penthouse was unusually quiet, but he smiled to himself as he walked toward the bedroom. Then he heard laughter. Soft, intimate, familiar but wrong, confused. He slowed his steps and gently pushed the bedroom door open. On his bed, the same bed they had chosen together, was Clara, his fiancée, wrapped in silk sheets. But she wasn't alone. A man lay beside her, his shirt tossed on the floor, his arm draped over her waist as she laughed, completely relaxed. Clara's laughter died the instant her eyes met Ethan's. "Ethan, wait," she gasped, scrambling off the bed. And his heart simply sank into a place he didn't know existed. "I can explain," Clara cried, running toward him. "Please, it's not what it looks like." Ethan's voice came out low and broken. "So tell me what it looks like then." The other man hurried past him, head bowed, grabbing his clothes. Ethan didn't even look at him. Clara dropped to her knees, clutching Ethan's legs, her makeup streaking as tears flowed freely. "I'm sorry. I made a mistake. It didn't mean anything. Please, Ethan, don't throw everything away. We've come too far. Please don't do this to us," she sobbed desperately. She followed him through the living room, tears trailing behind her. "We're getting married," she sobbed. "You can't just walk away." Ethan stopped and turned slowly. "You didn't just betray me," he said, his eyes dark with pain. "You betrayed the future we were building." That night, the engagement ended. The wedding plans disappeared. The fairy tale shattered. For days, Ethan went completely silent. He stopped answering calls. He stopped checking messages. The city moved on, but he didn't. His mother noticed immediately. She called endlessly. She visited repeatedly. She knocked on his door until her knuckles hurt. But Ethan never opened. She leaned her forehead against the door, her voice breaking. "Ethan," she pleaded softly, "whatever it is, talk to me. You're still my son." Inside the apartment, Ethan sat on the floor with his back against the couch, staring at nothing. Her words reached him, but he wasn't ready. Not even for her. When his mother finally left, her heart heavy, another person stepped in. His sister. Alicia didn't knock. She used her spare key. She found Ethan unshaven, eyes sunken, the weight of betrayal hanging heavily around him. The once confident man looked small, broken. She sat beside him without saying a word. Minutes passed. Then she spoke quietly. "You don't have to be strong with me." That was all it took. Ethan's control shattered. For the first time since the night everything ended, he spoke. Not with anger, but with pain. He told her everything. The laughter behind the door, the begging, the way trust died in seconds. Alicia listened. She didn't interrupt. She didn't judge. When he was done, she held his hand tightly. "This isn't your failure," she said firmly. "It's hers." That night, Alicia stayed. And slowly, Ethan began to breathe. Days turned into weeks. He returned to work, not with passion, but with discipline. Meetings, contracts, decisions. Everything felt mechanical, but it kept him moving. Months passed. The heartbreak remained, but Ethan was beginning to think clearly again. Meanwhile, his mother, on the other hand, kept pressuring him about marriage and grandchildren. One evening, at Ethan's favorite upscale eatery in Ikoyi, something happened. Or rather, someone made it happen. Lydia had done her research. She knew his routine, his favorite seat, his usual time. As Ethan stood up from his table, Lydia accidentally bumped into him, spilling her drink slightly. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," she said quickly, her eyes wide with practiced innocence. Ethan smiled politely. "It's fine, no harm done." She laughed nervously. "You are such a gentleman. I've seen you here a few times. You must really love this place." One conversation led to another, then another visit, then shared meals. It worked. Lydia was charming, intelligent, soft-spoken, or so it seemed. They began dating. But one evening, fate betrayed her intentions. Ethan wanted to surprise her, so he visited her, unannounced, carrying flowers and an engagement ring, hidden carefully in his pocket. Ethan returned home earlier than planned. His heart was light, hopeful. But as he approached the door, he heard voices inside. Laughter, women's voices. He paused. Lydia's friends visited. He stood quietly outside as the conversation drifted toward him. "Just be patient," one of the women said. Lydia laughed. "Of course I am. You think men like that fall from the sky? Once I secure the bag, I'm gone." Another voice giggled. "So you don't even love him?" Lydia scoffed. "Love? Who love help? Please, I love the lifestyle." Ethan's hand fell to his side. The flowers slipped from his grip. He turned away silently. That was the night something broke inside him. Days had passed, but Ethan remained shut off from the world. He barely answered calls, didn't return messages, and avoided everyone, including his sister. Alicia, growing worried, went to his apartment one afternoon. She knocked gently at first. "Ethan, it's me," she called. No answer. She tried again. Still nothing. Finally, with a deep sigh, she retrieved the spare key she had for emergencies. The door creaked open. The apartment was quiet, almost suffocating in its stillness. She stepped inside and found him sitting on the floor by the window, his eyes staring blankly at the skyline. He hadn't moved. She froze for a moment, heart aching. "I went to your office," she said softly, approaching him. "I was told you haven't been there for a week. Your phone, it's not connecting. What's going on, Ethan?" He didn't respond immediately. He let out a long, heavy sigh, the kind that carried weeks of betrayal and exhaustion. Finally, his voice came out low, almost broken. I caught Lydia with someone else. Just when I thought I found the one for me. But it turns out she's after my money, just like the rest of them. I thought she was different, Alicia. She was... I don't know anymore." Alicia sat down beside him, carefully placing a hand on his shoulder. She didn't rush him. She let the silence speak, letting him breathe and grieve. "I'm so sorry this happened to you. It's her loss, Ethan," she said. "You are a good man. You are every woman's dream. She doesn't deserve you in any way." After a long pause, she spoke again, gently but firmly. "Ethan, I know every woman out here is after your money, every single one. And I know you want someone real, someone who will love you, not your wealth." He turned to look at her, suspicion in his tired eyes. "I have an idea," she continued, her tone quiet but charged with determination. "What idea?" Ethan replied. "A plan so clever that you finally see who stays for you, not your money." Okay, let me hear it," he replied. "You need to disappear. Go out there, live as a man with nothing. Strip yourself of your name, your wealth, everything. Only then will you know the truth about people and about love." Ethan stared at her, a mix of awe, hesitation, and curiosity flickering across his face. You think this could work?" he asked, almost afraid to hope. Alicia smiled faintly, eyes glinting with certainty. "Yes, I know it will. And I'll be the only one who knows where you're going. I'll watch over you from afar. But you have to trust me. Do this for yourself." He leaned back, exhaling slowly, letting the weight of the plan sink in. For the first time since that night, he felt a flicker of control return, not over his wealth, but over his life. "I need to do this," he said quietly. Alicia placed her hand over his and squeezed it gently. "Then go. And remember, I've got your back, always." And so, under the veil of secrecy and trust, Ethan prepared to vanish from the life he knew, stepping into the unknown in search of real love, a love that money could never buy.